Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Awesome Sunday Show. Connor here.
And Pat.
So today is a special episode. It's our review episode of DCEU's Suicide Squad.
I think not so special is probably better.
Yeah, this thing is far from special. So, guys, we know you love when we have guests, especially returning guests, and we have a new guest today. So,
well, technically he's returning, actually.
Technically returning, but that was...
He's newer.
He's newer. It was a crossover, though. So, but for the actual...
Yeah, but I recorded it, so it was our show.
All right. Well, we can put the legalities to another day. So, introduce yourself, gentlemen.
Hey everybody, I'm Phil, co-host of Live from the Urinal, and fuck you, Pat. That was our show.
Ooh.
No.
Shots fired.
Pretty sure I recorded it.
Hey, Anthony D'Elia here, back
and
again.
You used our studio. Sorry, Anthony.
Oh, no, it's totally fine. Go ahead.
And you use our studio, therefore it's automatically our show.
Yeah,
so.
our studio.
I get back at it again, just love coming on the show with you guys, talking movies and TV and all that fun stuff.
Out for Harambe.
Oh yeah!
Oh my God, for Harambe. I think we should. Right. First of all, I think we should dedicate this episode to Harambe, please.
Is it? I think
we want to dedicate a happy topic to him.
True.
Yeah, not this shitty movie, but I guess that's how I feel. I just want to get this out of the way first. Is it Harambe or Harambe?
It's Harambe.
It's Harambe because that's what I've been saying. So I just want to make sure I'm right. Okay. So
dicks out.
So everybody, Suicide Squad. We saw the Thursday night showing at 9:00. I kind of missed the midnight showings. I was exclusively midnight, but at the same time, I'm so glad it's at 9:00.
The last movie I saw that was exclusively midnight was Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, and I remember the first movie that I saw, and this was before Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight. But the first movie I saw where it was not even the day before, it was 2 days before, was Transformers. I saw that Wednesday night at like 7 or 8 o'clock when it was supposed to be released on a Friday. That was one of the first big movies to like really do something like that, and it really worked in their favor. Yeah,
it hasn't happened since though.
Yeah, maybe it has. I think you're right, but I just don't want to assume that right away. It's usually been the night before that they usually come out.
Except that when it's like a long holiday weekend, sometimes like they'll come out on like a Wednesday or a lot of like the week of Thanksgiving. A lot of times like it'll come out on Wednesday night.
Didn't Star Wars come out on a Tuesday?
Oh, sorry.
Which one?
The Force Awakens.
I don't know.
I think that whatever, but anyway,
I know the club went up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
I like that.
But I did notice with movie releases, since we're on the topic, when it's in school session, like, if you follow the regular school like months, they release on Fridays. Once summertime hits, that's when they start releasing like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays.
Right.
No, Thursdays all the time.
Yeah,
no,
it's the Tuesday, Wednesday then.
Yeah.
It's
even then that doesn't really happen.
It doesn't really happen.
Much.
It's
like a rare thing.
It's like usually the big budget blockbusters that are released not in summer are the ones that still do the Thursday nights, because it's still very profitable, and like it's not even so much. It's not at midnight anymore. Like they have like 7 o'clock showings. So
7 o'clock is the new midnight.
Yeah, exactly. So we saw the 9 o'clock showing. Thanks.
No, Force Awakens came out technically on a Friday.
Technically on a Friday?
But the midnight was Thursday, so.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a Tuesday for some reason. So back at the topic at hand. So we just got done seeing Suicide Squad. So the movie's still fresh in our heads. We have some polarizing opinions on the movie itself, but it's our show. So usually, as a tradition for the show, the guests always go first. So, D'Elia?
Yeah, well, so yeah, I mean, I feel like we might be like kind of split down the middle between me and Pat and you and Phil.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, I mean, if I had to, just to jump the gun kind of with the rating, if I had to rate the movie, I would probably give it like a hard 5, soft 6.
Okay.
It was very middle of the road for me. I liked it a lot more than both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and I thought that, I kind of didn't really see a ton of like the hate that it's getting and the reviews from critics. I thought the plot was too simple to be muddled. I thought it was relatively straightforward. I thought the characters were interesting. They weren't all written or developed as well as they could have been, but it was still way more, in my opinion, fun and interesting to watch and sit through than either Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, which I thought were kind of joyless and humorless. And so I kind of felt that this was definitely something that the DC universe needed.
Good point. Here we go.
I'm about to rip into this thing. I have never been so disappointed in a superhero movie in my life. I think maybe because of the hype it was getting. It's been hyped up since the idea was released, and I was so excited for it. I saw Jared Leto was going to be the Joker. I said, this could be something here. And it wasn't everything I thought it would be. I'm honestly, I took back my rating from before. Since D'Elia gave it a soft 6, I now have to give it a hard 3.
Ooh, all right.
I'm right around the Rotten Tomato percentage.
All right. Well, I'll go in when it's my turn. You have anything else you want to share about it, or?
It felt rushed. It felt jumped around. They did a decent job humanizing some of the characters, such as Deadshot. I think Will Smith, he played Will Smith again, just with a gun, and good aim.
Because that's never happened before.
Yeah, he couldn't shoot shit in I Am Legend. So
yeah.
But overall, yeah, I didn't like it. I just can't stand it.
Pat, you want to go, or you want me to go?
Yeah, because I know you're going to tear into it. It wasn't worse than Batman vs Superman. Definitely not even close to being as bad. It's not a great movie. It's not even a good movie. It helps that my expectations were extremely low since Tuesday. But the mindset, this isn't going to be worse than Batman vs Superman, at least that proved to be true. And I knew going into it there were going to be things that I did really like about it. And there were, like, 2. Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, exceptional. Would have loved more screen time from her because she was the strongest character in the entire thing. And probably the best actor. Not shitting on anybody else's acting credibility, but she is. And then I think Margot Robbie nailed it as Harley Quinn, regardless of how some people feel about the accent. I don't think it was bad. Yes, it was pretty much her Wolf of Wall Street accent, but that's fine. I can accept it. It didn't take me out of it.
All right, so it's my turn.
If I were to give it a rating, I would go 4.5. 4.5 to soft 5.
Okay, so my turn. I thought this movie was garbage. Like, I've seen more personality in, like, wallpaper art than I've seen in this goddamn movie. And, like, I went into this movie, like, I was like, I'm going to go in with an open mind. I'm going to take it for what it is. And I'm like, I knew going in there was going to be problems. Because, like, you don't get a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes without having some issues with the movie. But there's movies that I really do love that have gotten terrible reviews. So, you know what? I just want to like it. Like, if I can walk out saying I liked it, then I liked it. Dude, I really and wholeheartedly feel that this movie was worse than Batman vs Superman. And
Connor, you got to watch, because next DCEU crybaby fanboys are going to petition to get us taken down, like they are with Rotten Tomatoes.
We actually might get more attention that way, though. There's no such thing as bad press.
This is a true thing, though. Some ridiculous people who can't accept that the movies that were released in the DCEU were bad are petitioning to get Rotten Tomatoes shut down for giving it negative reviews. First of all, that's absolutely insane. You're not going to get a website shut down. Second of all, Rotten Tomatoes does not write the reviews. It's an aggregator. What that means is they collect reviews, and then based on which reviewers give it, it's either a C or higher or a 5 or higher.
Depending on how they rate it. Also, Rotten Tomatoes does not hire these critics.
Right. Then they base it on a percentage, like, this percentage of critics we collected liked it, or gave it this score. That's how Rotten Tomatoes works.
Yeah, and also
And you can't get a fucking site shut down like that.
I don't know.
And Warner Brothers owns a minor stake in it. So
before I go on,
30%, not exactly minor. Like, that's a pretty heavy ownership
they
interest.
were like 70 before selling it to Fandango.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Damn.
IGN also had acquired part of Rotten Tomatoes for a while, but they let it go. I think like 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah. So going back, you're absolutely right. I agree with that part with the Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, going back, I thought one thing I didn't understand what the critics said was that it was a muddled plot. I don't agree with that because I feel like there was almost little to no plot whatsoever. I thought what was muddled was the characters and like how they presented them and the screen time they were giving. It just came down to like, I guess, poor editing at that point as far as like fleshing out like who they need to flesh out.
That's surprising. Poor editing in a DC Extended Universe movie.
Yeah.
Where have I seen that before?
I mean, I will admit that the editing wasn't as bad as Batman vs Superman.
Right, because there weren't hard cuts of 2-minute black screen. You're
Exactly.
right.
But here's the thing.
There were editing issues, specifically going from current day to random flashback, back to current day, 2 seconds, back to another flashback that didn't build upon the moment.
Right.
And some of the flashbacks built upon the characters, some didn't. Some were to show off part of their past. Others were just there.
So, like, here's and I'll end with this, and then we can start getting into conversation. The main problem I have with this movie is I will admit Batman vs Superman had more problems, but I will give it this, and I said this in the car. Like Phil's hearing this for the first time. Even though Batman vs Superman was a god awful movie and it was an atrocious travesty.
A Schmishmortian.
Yeah, I can at least admit that they tried on something. They tried on the plot, but the plot all over the place and it was so incoherent and hard to follow. Absolutely, it was terrible. But like, Suicide Squad doesn't even try on their plot, and that's fine if you're not. There's 3 things that I look for in a movie, like that should make a movie: is dialogue, plot, and characters. And like again, that's not everything that goes into a movie. There's so much more that goes into a movie than that. But it's like
3 basic elements.
Those are 3 basic elements that you at least look for. So if you're not going to focus on 1 or 2, then you better really focus and try so hard in the one aspect. And it's like there's almost no plot. I did not laugh once at any of those lines. I thought those lines were not funny whatsoever. The comedy did not work in that movie, and also the dialogue between the characters didn't make sense. There's parts where they're like, "Oh, we're like friends now," and like so. It just, you have to admit, it didn't make sense that they all just suddenly worked together when they had no reason to work together at certain aspects. And
well, technically, I mean, the only time they didn't really have to work together and continue the mission is after Rick Flag.
Yep.
Oh, in case we haven't said, 'cause
spoilers.
we didn't. This is entirely spoiler filled. So go bitch about it somewhere else.
Yep.
But yeah, when Rick Flag smashed his thing, because at that point Amanda Waller was captured and being controlled or used by the Enchantress.
So I couldn't get invested with what they were talking about. There was no plot to get invested, and like I said, the characters were, to me, was the most muddling of the story. So I have nothing I have no characters to engage in. I have no dialogue to listen to that makes me enjoy the movie, and there's no plot for me to ever wonder what happens at the end or what goes on during the story. So to me, I just felt I never. Like when I watch a movie, I look for something that invests me. It makes me forget that there's an aspect ratio, that there's 4 corners and 4 sides that this little world is based in. And like this movie had nothing. Like I knew the whole time I'm looking at a screen and like all this is just bullshit. So in that aspect, yes, I really dislike this movie. This is probably one of the top 5 worst movies I've ever seen in a movie theater. That's how I really feel about the movie. And to give it a rating, I'd give it maybe like a 1 or 2. Like a hard 1, soft 2.
What did you give Batman vs Superman?
I'd give that like a 3, 2.5, 3.
Wow.
Because I can at least admit that there was some sort of attempting, and also too, I like Batfleck, and Jeremy Irons as Alfred was pretty dope. So I can admit that. So I don't know who I like in this movie. Okay, Viola Davis was fine, but she was like whatever.
No way. She was so good.
She's
a perfect incarnation of Amanda Waller.
But she was given
Yeah.
such a shitty script, and like I say, she's fine because I know she's a fantastic actress. She doesn't need to prove anything, you know. But like she was given like just a garbage movie to work with.
But that was Amanda Waller. Like, on the spoiler discussion, like the scene where you find out, like, spoilers again, like, I just want to have these warnings. Like, midway through the movie, you find out that the person they've been trying to rescue from the city is Amanda Waller, and she's trapped at the top of a building in a room with a bunch of like workers from Argus that are like trying to wipe all the hard drives in the room so that they can escape. And she's like, all right, wipe all the hard drives, we got to get out of here. And then they wipe all the hard drives, and she shows up with a pistol and shoots every single one of those workers dead because they weren't cleared to know about Enchantress. And
they were FBI, not Argus.
Right, and so that was like the most Amanda Waller moment. I was literally like, okay, they got Viola Davis, she's badass, and this is what Amanda Waller would do. She'd rather murder these people and escape herself than let any person who is not supposed to know what's going on.
Right. I know. I that's totally true. Like, I think when it comes to casting, the casting wasn't bad. Like, they didn't pick. I don't think they, as far as I can say right now, unless we start talking and I think of something else. As far as I can see right now, there isn't an actor I couldn't tell. Be like, nope, not maybe Will Smith, but
except for Jai Courtney, but even he wasn't that terrible in this movie.
No, see, this was the role that Jai Courtney was born for because it captured him exactly. This is the role he'll most be remembered for because he sucks and everything else, but you give him a role as a drunk Australian and he fucking, that's him right there. He was living real life just with boomerangs. Well, actually, that's still real life.
Yeah. Oh, they love boomerangs in Australia. Yeah. Gosh. I don't know. Phil, you got something to say, man?
Yeah. As for casting, of course, we have to touch on Margot Robbie. She did a good job as Harley Quinn.
I agree.
Our Matt, one of the co-hosts with me on Live from the Urinal.
He's never wrong.
No, never, ever wrong. He's not allowed to be wrong. But he said in the car, that he would have almost preferred more of a Harley Quinn origin movie over Suicide Squad. And I agree, because then we would have seen more of the Joker.
Right.
We didn't see enough of him. Granted, I'll make the judgment that, of course, I said earlier, you can't compare it to Heath Ledger. It's a different kind of Joker.
Yep.
This is a cartoonish Joker that you could maybe compare it to Jack Nicholson's Joker. Maybe. I don't know. You can go either way with that.
I'm going to say he tried being Heath Ledger's Joker, but then watched Batman the Animated Series and brought in some Mark Hamill, but was not good enough for it. Not that Jared Leto, but again, you can't make a full impression on him because he probably had a total of 5 minutes of screen time. Jared even said that a majority of his scenes were cut from the movie.
You see, based on what he said and what a lot of the reviewers said about the Joker, I was expecting him to be in it even less than he was in it. I was surprised by how much he was in it.
He was in it more in the trailers than he was in the movie.
Well, yeah, I mean the trailers made it seem like he was a bigger part of the movie than he actually wound up being, but at the same time, he did have a whole subplot of trying to rescue Harley Quinn. I mean, we could just talk about the Joker right now, just get this out of the way.
Yeah.
I kind of just want to.
He was a big problem in the movie.
See, I thought that the problem was that there wasn't enough of him because, like Phil said, it was
we can all agree there was a problem. It may not be the problem.
Enchantress was so bad that they needed more Joker to soften that up a little bit, because Enchantress was terrible. Cara Delevingne is a terrible actress. I was glad that they dubbed over most of her lines, but even then, just seeing her and those fucking caterpillar eyebrows were just distracting.
Yeah, that's another thing with the movie. That it was a horrible villain. It was a horrible
And you know
villain.
what? A couple of the reviews I read and watched and listened to were like, oh, spoilers if you don't want to know who the main villain is. You knew who the villain was the entire time.
Yeah.
It was always Enchantress from the start. I don't know why anybody would have doubted that. But maybe you could have been like, oh, that's a villain? And, people criticize the Marvel movies for having weak villains. Enchantress was garbage. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, if you want to call him that, was garbage.
DC's
Doomsday was garbage.
DC's on a great run right now. They
Yeah,
really are.
and it sucks because
fucking awful.
DC has the best villains.
They humanize their villains.
What?
I said, well, I mean, like, one thing I will say about Man of Steel is that Zod was okay.
Yeah.
That's only because of Michael Shannon.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they had a great actor playing a role that he was suited for.
Yep.
Whereas, like, I think Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor.
He is,
but
he's just completely wrong for that role.
right. And
Total miscast.
Right. So, like, that was good miscast, and then Cara Delevingne, bad actress.
Miscast.
I don't know if it's. I don't even know if you could call it miscast though, because she just stands in a room the whole movie.
Shouldn't have been cast.
Right. She just stands in the room and gyrates the whole movie. Like there was literally like
and had
no
like a ghost voice.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're in order like what they did with the green screen was like just imagine you had a rave and you have glow sticks in your hands.
That's a good description of what she did. Yeah.
That's what I thought, dude. I was laughing at that part. I was like, this is the silliest thing I've ever
Too
seen.
bad we don't have video. You just miss Anthony like dancing up a storm like that.
That whole scene, like the whole entire, every time they'd flip to the terminal, like it looked like a Grand Central type station type thing. It looked like fucking Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that was a good point.
It
Was
looked
like
like
a rip-off of
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. It looked
Yep.
just like that.
It just looked like complete bullshit. New Ghostbusters, sorry.
I didn't see the new one, so I can't compare. But that is a Ghostbusters.
We should
type
see
thing.
that soon.
Yeah, why not?
It's
But-
Ghostbusters. It
but,
can't be any worse than Ghostbusters 2.
Well, we also said Suicide Squad couldn't be worse than Batman vs Superman,
True.
and you
And
find it worse.
I did. That is true.
It's borderline worse for me, borderline. But no, like the whole idea of the big guy died way too easily. I'm sorry.
Her brother
Yeah,
Yeah.
he died way too easily.
For someone that they
by a bomb.
Yeah,
Like it's not like it was a nuke. It was like
Hey,
a fucking
a Navy SEAL
landmine
did
type
it.
bomb.
a Navy SEAL did it.
Yeah. Navy SEAL.
So-
but like, here's the thing: like, El Diablo, he couldn't he used all his like pyrotelekinesis powers to pretty much almost decimate Enchantress's brother. His hand gets cut off and it grows back, and then this bomb takes him out.
Yeah.
Well, at the time that the bomb took him out, Diablo had melted completely through his sternum and his like where his heart was.
It just was so like.
So he was already weak. He didn't get the chance to grow back to reinforce himself like he did with his hand.
It looked like his chest had grown back at that point, though. Like,
Yeah.
that
It
was.
growing around his hand.
I don't know. Like, it was just so because then he transformed back into his human form. El Diablo transformed back into his human form.
Yeah, and also too, his hand grew back pretty fucking fast, so his chest wouldn't grow back at the same speed.
It did though. That's the thing. Like that was that.
You're right. Because after he melted him right before the bomb went off,
Right.
he's back to normal.
So like for any
I was slowing it down a little bit or speeding it up in my head.
yeah. So like for anybody that hasn't seen the movie and doesn't care to see the movie, whatever. Like
You shouldn't care to see this movie.
the two villains are Enchantress and her brother, who isn't named. And basically, like
Enchanter.
yeah, I don't know, I guess so. And so, like, the Enchantress's brother is beaten by a bomb that explodes under his
I don't know if
feet.
that's his name, by the way.
It's just a bomb, like a depth charge or something that they explode under his feet.
Kind of looked like a combination of a sticky bomb and a landmine.
Yeah, and then Enchantress is beaten by the Enchantress's like machine or spell that she
spell
sets
thing,
up
yeah.
is beaten by like throwing a bomb into it and Deadshot shooting the bomb and it blows up. It's like a bomb. Like in the end, like
Taking
these
down
villains.
magical
Right,
force.
seriously. Like this was probably my biggest problem with the movie was how it was resolved. It felt kind of rushed at the end, the resolution, because like just regular old bombs
The only
just
thing
defeat
that
these magic
would have made
beings.
sense about her being defeated was her heart being ripped out and then crushed.
Right, that made sense. Absolutely. But
And June Moon, who Enchantress possessed, should not have survived.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, that wasn't even the biggest problem with it because, like, for me personally, like, I agree it's dumb. Like, she should have just died. But at the same time, it's you kind of interpret it as, and this might be just me reading into the movie too much, but you can kind of interpret it as, like, Enchantress made them think that destroying the heart would kill June Moon because she didn't want to die.
That's a good point.
But again, that's not in the movie. I'm just kind of reading that into it. So I'm kind of doing the script's work for it.
Makes sense because she was trying to show them what they wanted and what she could offer.
Right.
And so she wanted to instill fear in Rick Flag.
Right. So like there's that angle, but at the same time, it's stupid that an explosion destroyed her magic spell and her brother, which he
Not just magic spell, this magical vortex.
Yes.
Sorry, the brother's name, I don't know if they ever say it in the movie, but the brother's name is Incubus.
Yeah, they didn't say it in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
It's a weird looking incubus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they say it in the movie or not.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
I'm almost positive they didn't.
100%.
Kind of reminded me of the Mummy.
Yeah. This
Just glowy.
Very glowy. Like
A little taller.
if the Mummy met Jesus.
The Destroyer or whatever from Thor.
Yep, I was just gonna say that.
What Anthony said was the Destroyer from Thor.
That's a good comparison.
No, that's how you make a baby right there.
Yeah, that's just a really fucked up.
Yeah,
baby.
that was. Those two things were two of the weakest things, and that's a justifiable complaint against the movie that I've been seeing a lot. Is the villain sucks, which it did, and going back to June Moon not dying, a lot of complaints that hardcore DCEU fanboys make against Marvel is that Marvel cops out, makes cop outs and nobody dies. Well, June Moon didn't die, and she's not important at all, just to being that shitty villain. In Batman vs Superman died, but everybody knows he's not dead. They wasted a fucking awesome story on that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, but Pat, they killed Slipknot, buddy.
Oh, thank you for bringing him up. How?
I was wondering when we were going to bring that up. I was waiting for it.
How?
All right,
dare
seriously, like a lot of the comedy in the movie didn't land, and it was kind of groan-inducing because it was trying too hard. But the one thing for me that really did work was when I think it was Rick Flag who introduces Slipknot as, he's like, oh yeah, this is Slipknot. He's the best climber. Like he can climb anything.
As in, he's going to run away first and then die.
Yeah, so then fast forward to they finally landed Midway City, and Captain Boomerang convinces Slipknot that the bombs that they've implanted into their necks aren't real, and Slipknot tries to run away, and
No, dude, he climbed away.
oh, sorry, yeah, my bad. Slipknot tries to climb away, and Rick Flag just blows him up, and he just hangs there. I thought that was hilarious.
One, that was smart on Captain Boomerang's part to really test it out without doing it on himself.
Right.
Two, I'm glad that Slipknot died then, because if he had been in the movie any longer, I really would have been annoyed because it's a waste of a body because Slipknot fucking sucks. Wow, I could shoot ropes and grappling hooks.
Sick, man.
And
Is
I
it-
have braids in my hair with fucking rope too. Oh, backup
Oh, you know
rope.
who that actor was? I just realized
That's the boy from Joe Dirt.
Yeah,
He's the. I was just gonna say that. He's the
Yeah, what an
fireworks guy.
insult to that guy's career.
Husker do's, Husker don'ts.
Damn, that was the best.
Trying to
role he's
run
ever had
away is a
compared to this
giant
shit.
Husker don't.
Yeah, seriously. It was a good boom.
Climb away. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. You caught me there.
Yeah,
movie
like that.
sucked.
His sole purpose was to show off the bombs, and you know what? That's all he should have been, and I'm glad that's all he was.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they because it was almost like, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it seemed intentional because when Rick Flag introduces him, he kind of deadpans it to the point where it's
This motherfucker's gonna die.
right. No, it's it's funny because he's like, oh yeah, that's Slipknot. He's the best climber in the world, and I'm just kind of like, that's so dumb.
terrible
right. So
fucking
I
line. Oh
I
my
knew from that
God.
moment on that he was going to be the one that gets his head blown off because somebody had to get his head blown off.
It was such a terrible line. And when I first saw him in the trailer, I'm like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Easy. And then, going back to Diablo, his death was really predictable. As soon as he started telling his tragic backstory in the bar, I'm like, oh, great, he's dead.
But at least he had an arc.
True.
He did have a
And he
kind of a
contributed. It took
yeah.
I will admit,
90
he might
minutes.
be the best part of the movie. Yeah,
I would not go that far at all.
but here's the thing: it's still not good.
Back to that bar. That was the most unnecessary scene. ever.
Not to mention they cut half of it because the rest of it was in the trailer.
Unbelievable. That was like the most unnecessary scene ever.
They rushed that scene. Pacing was a big problem in this movie, and that's a huge complaint that's been throughout the other two movies as well, and through all the reviews that pacing, editing, plot, villain, pacing was huge problem in this. Nothing happened for 75 minutes.
No, it didn't. And they tried to develop some backstory right away. They killed half of their soundtrack within the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Too
Speaking
quick.
of soundtrack, that music was so forced. They're like,
Too forced.
we got to put it in like this.
Because that's how Guardians
And
did
I
it.
think that they just used what music like WB had the rights to, I think. They didn't want to spend money on it. But yeah, like the pace, like seriously nothing happened for like 75 minutes. Another scene that seriously went on way too long was when after Enchantress spawns Incubus and he destroys the tunnel and then she ditches Rick Flag. That whole scene at the fucking airport, like showing like the him arriving to the squad, did not need to see him flying that helicopter to get there because he didn't say a word until he landed. You could have taken out like 5 minutes right there and then sped it along. But they did a terrible job at that, and that was severely disappointing. This movie was really disappointing, even going in with low expectations, because David Ayer, I know, is way more talented than this.
Yeah. I mean, he made Fury. That movie was incredible.
Fury, End of Watch. He wrote Training Day, and he wrote and directed this movie. So I guess his writing is down a little bit, or in a slump. He's like up and down.
Well, I
It's really
think
disappointing.
the biggest problem with this movie was too much studio interference. I mean,
It was made by committee.
right, and I think that this movie, like, the problem with Warner Brothers, in my opinion, right now, is that they don't know how much involvement to exercise over the movies themselves. And like for that, I mean, with Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, you have a director who is not a good director, who doesn't really understand the characters, even though he pretends he does, and needs some kind of guiding hand, like making sure that he doesn't
They
go
were too hands off for those two,
Right.
and they were too hands on for them.
Exactly. So what I think happened was the reaction to Batman v Superman came out, and then they went back to do those Suicide Squad reshoots, and
Then they got even more hands on.
right, and Warner
Plus,
Brothers just
you can
decided to
really
get
tell
way too
which
hands on.
Scenes were reshoots because they stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, and then
And they were like, it took you out of the movie. Like, it was a poor editing issue, and some of those scenes shouldn't have been added anyway.
right, and not only that, but like just the idea of the fact that they think they need to hold the hand of somebody like David Ayer, who is actually a talented writer and director,
Yep.
is just baffling to me. You know, like you hire somebody who's an actual filmmaker as opposed to Zack Snyder, who's, you know,
Excellent cinematographer.
oh my God, whatever. So like he's just not, but he just doesn't get characters. And David Ayer does, obviously. I mean, he created like an Academy Award winning role for Denzel Washington in Training Day. So, you know, the guy gets characters, and yet the studio still felt like they had to exercise so much control over his vision, and that really hurt the movie.
Yeah. And it was because of Batman vs Superman.
Absolutely.
And you know what? A lot of people thought Jeff Johns was going to save this movie. Jeff Johns' influence, because his new position, this movie was done by the time he got his new position as the Kevin Feige role. That won't be seen until Wonder Woman, at least.
Yeah, which Wonder Woman looks like it's shaping up for the step in the right direction, because that trailer blew, dude.
Yeah,
that was one of the best
second
Comic-Con trailer.
The second Suicide Squad trailer was awesome too. The Suicide Squad trailers were much better than the movie.
Yeah,
I agree
I'll
with
get-
that.
I don't know if I wouldn't say awesome, but it was enjoyable.
No, it was good.
It was good.
Very good.
Yep, it was
But
good.
The Wonder Woman trailer was definitely awesome. Yes.
Oh yeah, like
For
that
sure.
was the first awesome trailer, and like there's a lot more riding on Wonder Woman besides being, you know, a part of the DCEU. We've talked about that in our Comic-Con podcast. So I mean, it's just with Suicide Squad.
Hopefully, you know, Warner Brothers and DC lets Patty Jenkins, who's a terrific director, do it her way, and get Jeff Johns to sprinkle a little Jeff Johns dust on there to make it even better.
Well, how did you guys feel overall about the Harley Quinn random flashbacks? Like the stairwell one to the acid.
I didn't think that flashback was that random, actually, because, I mean, she was looking down the center of that winding stairwell, and it flashed her back to when she jumped off of a ledge into a vat of acid. And, I mean, that just the idea of being that high up and looking down at a space can trigger a memory like that. I thought, honestly, like, the problem with the other characters that didn't exist in Harley Quinn was that she was developed way more than pretty much anyone else in the movie was. I mean, Deadshot kind of came close,
the only other one.
right? Because it was Will Smith. Like, these are the two biggest names in the movie, and so they're the ones that get developed the most.
I know leading up to this, I was complaining about Will Smith being Will Smith as Deadshot, and largely he was, but he did a better job with it than I thought. Overall, I was fine with it because he was one of the better parts of the movie, but he's a terrific actor, so I'm not surprised that he turned out better. I think this was his best performance in a while. But that's I let it slide because I think that plus Deadshot kicks ass anyway, and he was humanized. He was very, very humanized. With his daughter. But Harley Quinn and him were probably two most fleshed out. Rick Flag, nothing, but you didn't really need to know much other than that he was in love with.
He was a plot device.
I think that honestly,
he was there to be the smaller douchebag, like that, the lesser of two evils. But
You
still
piss
being
me
a
off,
douchebag.
you die.
I think that that was in character, I thought, because he's trying to be like tough in front of these criminals, but
it's essentially like a plot device. Don't you gotta watch out because your head will blow off. Let me remind you.
But that's an essential element of Suicide Squad, though.
I know, but it's done with a character that has that's so boring. That's just annoying.
Well, what I was gonna say was that I thought that Will Smith being Will Smith with that like Will Smith like swagger that he has makes sense for this version of Deadshot because Deadshot is the best marksman in the world and he knows it. Yeah. So that kind of swagger and confidence.
Swings his dick around doing
right, exactly. And like I thought that Will Smith really like that element of Will Smith's persona
I don't think
translated well to Deadshot in this version of the character.
Yes, no, you're right. Because he would have like an attitude like that.
Yep.
One thing I just didn't feel like he was angry enough. Like anytime I like you play the Arkham games, Deadshot is always so fucking furious. Just angry nonstop. Will Smith wasn't really like that until he found out the top secret plans that were labeled top secret in big bold letters that Connor had a nice little freak out about in the car, which is true because it's so stupid.
It is very stupid. I'm and it's not this. It's a criticism of a movie, but it's also criticism of movies
Any
that
movie
do
that
in general that do this in general. That like, if you have top secret plans, what's the last thing you want to label it?
Top secret.
Top secret.
You label it Connor's masturbation fantasies.
Yeah, like remember like the old like Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes cartoons where like where's the bad guy and there's a sign that says hideout pointing at the cave like comedically like hinting like okay we got to progress the cartoon but let's make this villain an idiot too. So and that's done very well by Chuck Jones and like the other writers and creators of those cartoons. And it's like I'm like watching this and like do they think I'm watching a cartoon? Like top secret, like that's almost like that's something you see in a comedy, something labeled top secret,
or maybe in a comic book.
But here's the thing, though.
I'm just joking.
Yeah,
it is really stupid. You're right.
No, here's the thing, though, and we've said this on the show too. It's just because something in the comics doesn't make it good. Like there's things that are stupid in the comics that they've changed for movies for the better. And like we see examples to that, and we don't have to get into that right now. But like, it's just so dumb. Like. If this is top secret, here's something labeled top secret. Do you like it? Like, I know I'm not the only one that thinks.
No, you're right.
Dumb.
And right after that, in the bar, when Flag hands over the letters from his daughter, first of all, random ass time to do so. Number one. Number two, the awkward 2 seconds where he didn't react and then reacts. It was like a what the fuck moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really weird because he was like, you had these the whole time, and it seemed like he was going to get mad, but then he was kind of like, oh, you had these the whole time?
He wasn't sure if he should be mad or not.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't know, because it seemed like he was conflicted, but it kind of just wasn't handled as well as it could have been.
I think Will Smith just hesitated in that scene.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that they just left it in.
It makes sense that it makes sense that that would be the time where he would give him the letters because he was like setting them free, like he smashed the phone and he was like, all right, you guys can go do whatever you want, and then he's like, here you go, like your daughter writes you every day, and he throws these letters at him, and it seemed like he was going to get mad again, but instead he was like, you had these the whole time? All right, I'm going to help you now. You know, like it was, yeah, I don't know. It was, I mean, I don't know. They could have handled it better. That moment, because that was the trope of like they were at the lowest point and everyone was against Rick Flag, and then he convinces them to help him. Like that was that moment, that turning point moment, and it kind of could have been handled better, yeah. But I thought that bar scene, I don't know, I thought the bar scene was fine. Like you guys were talking about it before. I like my whole thing was that, and we talked about this in the car too. Like I said, at the beginning of the movie, the exposition happens where Amanda Waller is explaining all of the villains to the Joint Chiefs of Staff because she's trying to convince them to give the go-ahead to create Task Force X, also known as the Suicide Squad. And you're seeing her describe these people from her perspective, and she makes them sound like horrible people with no redeeming qualities. They're villains. They're just evil, and they don't have any depth to them. But then you get to the bar scene and it flips that, and you get exposition again, but this time it's from their perspective, and it humanizes them, and it makes you think like, you know, these people maybe aren't exactly who we thought they were. You know, you hear about El Diablo, Will Smith Deadshot goes back more in about his daughter. You know, Harley Quinn's been having flashbacks to how the Joker like messed her up. So it's kind of like they come together and sort of tell their side of the story, and I thought that was an interesting way to turn it on its head and make us think that the characters aren't exactly the straight up horrible villains that we thought.
Yeah, but regardless of that, it was still a poorly made scene.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe look, the whole movie could have been done better, obviously, but I still think that that David Ayer tried to make the characters interesting, and it just didn't work for reasons that weren't totally under his control.
I just feel like, you know, bringing up your point of exposition, that's all I felt like the movie was trying to give me. Like as I said before, like three elements that to me are essential are characters, dialogue, and plot. And instead they sacrificed all that and just started giving me exposition. Well,
the plot was a Suicide Squad plot. Like it was the Suicide Squad going on a mission.
I understand that, and I'm not arguing that, but I'm just saying, like, if you're not going to give me plot, then you better try your damnedest,
characters,
right? Well,
developing characters and having good dialogue, because it is just a story of we got to go from point A to point B. So you got to give me something that's interesting and grabbing me. And nothing gave it to me, and it's just like, here's exposition, here's explaining this, why they're doing this for these characters. Oh, this is why this person does that. Not making me feel that way.
But they did, like, that's the thing. Like you say, like they needed to try their hardest to do that, and they did try. He did try. It just didn't work as well as he wanted it to. But he did try.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. He tried to
let me rephrase
make the characters fun.
It didn't work at all.
It
just didn't work.
It didn't work. It didn't work as well as it should have. No, I agree.
It also went a little half-assed too. Right in the beginning, they developed Deadshot nicely. They developed Harley Quinn nicely, and then you get the Captain Boomerang. It was a little quick. You saw the Flash. Spoiler. You saw the Flash. He's the one that brought him in. Okay, cool. But then, like, each character they went to develop more and more, it got, like, less and less and less and less. It's like they just didn't give a shit. Almost they cared about Deadshot and Harley Quinn only. Which is okay. Like, that's fine. They're two prominent characters in the DC universe.
And the two biggest actors in the movie.
Right.
Well, two of the biggest still.
Right.
Margot more so now, Will Smith just forever.
Right. It humanized both of them. It showed who they were deep down. It showed he had a family. It showed she was a doctor that was, just...
I think that the reason Deadshot became more prominent was from the reshoots, because after at least it seems that way. Apparently, like, this one reviewer saw an early version, like, back in April, said it was amazing and, like, all these good things. And then he saw it again the other night, and he said, yeah, they took out so much stuff, they made Deadshot more the focus. I think that's because they needed to rely on Will Smith's star power to try and get people to still go see it and convince them that it's going to be good because of what happened with Batman vs. Superman. Speaking of Batman, probably the best parts of the movie for the 2 seconds he was on screen each time.
It's over, Deadshot.
Yeah. And and you know what? Good on Batman for not wanting to kick his ass in front of his daughter.
Yeah.
Respect.
But then why did he try to take him in when his daughter was right there? Like
There's a different thing between kicking your ass in front of your daughter than taking him in.
And I was very shocked by that. After the Batman we saw in Batman vs. Superman with the branding and literally beating the shit out of anything in sight and
running
the anger, I was so fucking shocked to see that.
Maybe Superman's death really did change him.
Yeah, because I was just about to say that because this supposedly does take place after Batman v Superman, but at the same time though, we don't know how long Deadshot's been locked up for.
Good
9
point.
months.
Yeah. It was.
He said it.
Oh, right. He was in there for 9 months.
And his daughter, and even if they didn't say it, his daughter is not much older at the end of the movie.
That's true. You're right. You're right. Okay, so he said.
They did say 9 months.
Ike Barinholtz, right, said he was in there for 9 months. So my question then is, how far after Batman v Superman does this take place?
See, the only reason we know is after Batman vs. Superman in the first place, other than being released after, is because they showed Superman's funeral scene, and that's the only thing they acknowledged about it.
Well, no, and then there was the guy out front of that building who was selling T-shirts that said "Never Forget" with the Superman logo on the front.
Those two things still, but that in particular was easy to miss. But like that's the only acknowledgement of this world-changing event.
Yeah,
and like that's kind of.
But then again, if we're going to talk about that crap, I mean, why the hell would the military throw this huge funeral for Superman when the country and Batman v Superman can't decide whether they love him or they hate him? He's a dick to the military, and at the end of Man of Steel, it's like they.
Because at that point, he sacrificed his life to save the world. So then they you know what? We like him now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, dude,
Plus,
let's not relitigate Batman v Superman. Like
that happens all the time after a celebrity dies. Like people make it about them by being like, "Oh my God, rest in peace," but saying this huge thing, like acting like they're a big fan, which definitely does happen, and I know people who do it all the time. But it's like the same type of thing.
When Roger Goodell dies, I will not do that.
No, I don't think many people will,
dude. That was amazing.
Except for Ray Rice.
No, Ray Rice is gonna.
He'll be
dance
sad.
on his fucking grave.
No.
Phil, that was great. That was. Perfect.
You got to leave now because you can't top it.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
Roger Goodell,
let's
best
talk about
NFL commissioner of all time.
Another character that we didn't. He should be in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
he should have been. Suicide. He's the Slipknot of the NFL or sports commissioning.
Dude, fuck Roger Goodell.
Actually, would have preferred him to be in the train station when Incubus started ripping shit apart.
One character we really didn't touch upon. Killer Croc.
Oh my God.
He could have been not in the movie, and it wouldn't have made any
He really
difference.
did not make too much of an impact, other than guiding that Navy Scott Eastwood to the bomb and then taking on the Enchantress zombies. But his face was a good design. Otherwise, he looked scrawny as fuck.
Yeah, his arms were so skinny,
and he looked like. No offense to you, Connor, but like if you were on screen with a big ass head, that's kind of what he resembled. I don't mean that in an offensive way. That's because you're like tall and lanky.
Yeah,
and you're not jacked.
But
But
have you seen these muscles?
Yeah.
We have to address the elephant in blackface in the room, though.
Fucking stereotype.
Yes.
Can I say that on the air about?
So offensive.
We now are confirming that Killer Croc is part of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but he was a huge stereotype.
Yeah.
From the very moment, he should have just not opened his mouth at all, other than to show off his teeth. Like he never should have spoken a word. Because as soon as they did, I kind of got disinterested in him because he sounded like what you would expect. Like anytime you see a stereotype of a black person, especially like nowadays, that's what he was, except mutated into a crocodile.
And it's so weird too because it's just like
It didn't make sense.
It didn't make any sense, and they were like,
Other than the
evolution
actor
doesn't-
playing him is an African American. Like that's
Yeah,
like,
but that it does it. Like,
Yeah, but
other
here's
than
the
that,
thing,
No, no, but I'm
that's
saying,
the only
like-
connection.
right, but
it's-
Killer Croc's never been portrayed this way.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm a white dude that grew up in Jersey, so like as far as like I don't know what
You've had a hard life, man.
yeah, like listen, I didn't have it that hard, like, but you know, I'm also not an idiot, and it's like I know it's a coincidence. I know they weren't trying to be racist, like going out of their way. They were trying to be funny. But then, like looking back, and I'm just realizing this now, like you know, for a racial slur towards like a black guy is calling him monkey or like ape or something like that, and what like you know as far as like when it comes to Darwinism and evolutionary thought and all that and like and all those theories that we came from apes, and it's just like you have this black actor playing a croc and they're saying evolution wasn't very kind to him, and you're like, and now you start saying again black stereotypes.
Oh my god, I didn't even make that
Yeah.
connection. Oh my god, that
Yeah.
makes it even worse.
Yeah, and I just realized that now, and I'm like, I know it's coincidence, but it's really not a good
No,
coincidence.
dude, look, let me just say, like, this portrayal of Killer Croc was so friggin' problematic and
Yeah.
racist, and like at the end, he like asks for like to be able to
and
watch
fried
BET.
chicken.
He has to be able to watch BET in his cell, and then it shows him back in his cell at the prison, like watching like a stereotypical like music, like rap video with
But
Black
asses
women
everywhere.
with big
it-
asses
it-
twerking up a storm.
it was seriously the most
mind the
like
twerking.
it was seriously the most like racist, problematic thing I've seen in one of these movies so far, and I could not believe that they allowed that to be in the movie. Like
Yeah.
it was totally in poor taste,
Like-
and I thought it was awful.
Yeah, like I'm saying, I don't think they did it on purpose. I think it's coincidental, but it's like, dude, how did you look over that? Yeah,
better.
yeah.
No.
that's
It's not better, but like
that makes it worse.
No,
It would have been not as
Because I don't
bad
think-
if they intentionally did it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think there's a racist bone in David Ayer's body, but like, yeah, I just think it's a bad coincidence. It just doesn't make the movie any better.
I don't know if it's a coincidence. It's just whether it was intentional or not, it's racist. That's the thing. Like,
Right, it comes across as that.
no, it is that.
I think it's absolutely racist. It was. Don't get me wrong. It was a cool character to have in the movie. Don't get me wrong. He looked cool until he took, like you said, took his
Until he
shirt
took
off.
his shirt off. Yeah.
Dude, his
And opened
chest
his
was
mouth.
his chest and his head. They fit. They was good match. His arms looked like
torso
a
were
toothpick.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And
Hey, it still looked better than
And you know
1998 Godzilla.
no, don't say that in front of Connor. He loves that movie.
I hate that movie so
He
much.
has Matthew Broderick tattooed over his
no, I
Godzilla's
don't.
face.
Please. I got the millennial
He
design
has
Godzilla. With
He has
Great
Matthew
Wave.
Broderick shooting atomic breath.
Yeah, totally. Go on my
But
Facebook
yeah,
page.
Killer
You'll see what
Croc,
the
I
tattoo
think,
really looks like.
I think was a stereotype that I think was out of left field and should have stayed there. Should have been thrown out at the plate or something. You want to keep throwing in baseball references, but it was bad. When they announced Killer Croc, I was excited because Killer Croc is sweet. And when they showed off his first design, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, he looks good. The way they actually had his eyes move, like how Crocs do, like they have that one layer go over and whatever, looked fine. And you know what? I appreciate that it was like actually very practical too.
yeah.
But the characterization of him sucked, and you don't identify with him at all unless you are a stereotype. And the only thing you could identify with him about was that he was bullied. Like, that's
Yeah.
it. That's why he became,
But how can you relate to that because you've never been a crocodile your entire
exactly.
life?
Like there's one thing in there that goes away really quick. It goes really, really quick.
dude, you wanted put the cherry on top of the racist ice cream sundae is he started singing Zippity Doo Dah.
Or you had a bucket of KFC.
Like, it just was like
Jesus, dude.
no, but like
Oh my god.
no, but seriously, like
I'm surprised they didn't have that in there.
yeah, like I don't know, it's
Because it was like walking that line, man. It was
Grape
bad.
soda.
like
No, Joker mentioned it, but not to King Croc.
Yeah.
Or Killer Croc. He
It's
mentioned
just-
it to Harley.
It's a very bad taste, especially especially the times we live in now with a lot of racial tension in this country.
Especially
and everything.
from Warner Brothers, who destroyed copies of a lot of their early cartoons that involved black people.
yeah.
Yeah, not a.
You know what? After looking at this, like, That may have been the worst part of this movie.
Yeah.
Or one of them. One of the biggest problems.
I thought it was by far the worst part of the movie, and it was just I mean, he was saying some really like stereotypical things, but once it got to the end with the BET thing, that was literally like, I can't believe that this is in the movie.
Now, imagine they did that earlier in the movie and then progressed it from there. How it would have been.
Oh yeah, but right. I mean, that would have been even worse. But it's still
Tumblr would have fucking lost their.
But people still should be up in arms over this because it literally like this. It's 26. Oh my god, I hate when people say that, but I literally just did it. I know. It's like it's the present. It's the present.
Right.
It's the current year. Like all right, to use that meme, it's the current year, and I cannot believe that this is in a movie. Like that was literally like.
That's why I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Is I don't think there's racist people involved with this movie. It comes across as very bad taste.
Maybe not, and I'm sure that there aren't. But at the same time, like you gotta call it what it is when you see it.
Absolutely. That I totally agree with. That's why I'm saying it comes across as racist.
Yeah, it's just oh my god, I just can't even think about it. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Given how he actually ended up being, I almost wish that they went with King Shark, which David Ayer said he was going to do instead of Killer Croc, but he didn't because it would have been all CGI and he didn't want to have to deal with that. But at the same time, that's good because that means he was allowed to appear on The Flash. We know DC says, they exist in separate universes and we don't take away characters from the show. That's a dirty fucking lie.
Big lie.
So
yeah, considering Ezra Miller's Flash is basically exactly Grant Gustin's Flash.
Well,
based on the footage we've seen.
That and the Flowerverse is not allowed to have Deadshot on it. They weren't allowed to have Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad episode. They had to delete the scene that showed off her shadow and like her voice. And they killed
Deadshot.
That's what I'm saying. They killed Amanda Waller.
Right, they killed Amanda. Oh my god, yeah, they killed Amanda Waller. I keep forgetting they did that.
They got rid of Deathstroke so they can use him in a movie, which a lot of people thought Scott Eastwood was going to end up being him. Thank God he wasn't. Scott Eastwood is not that good of an actor. He's nowhere near his dad's level.
No.
I would love, honestly,
he probably has like the close to the physique of Deathstroke would, but no, he would fuck that.
Have you ever seen Texas Chainsaw 3D?
No.
The third Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake?
The one with Alex Daddario?
Yeah. Oh my god.
God bless her soul.
Is that what you want to?
I love
God bless?
God bless her soul. I love her.
I love her too.
I don't have a soul, so I have to God bless someone's soul.
There weren't two other things you were going to mention instead of the soul?
Scott Eastwood.
Oh yeah, she has a great rack. I'm sorry.
Scott Eastwood is in that movie Texas Chainsaw 3D, and he might be part of one of the worst movie twists I've ever seen.
He was in the running to be the next Han Solo for the origin movie.
Thank God he wasn't.
I'm not gonna lie. I was actually hoping for Miles
Teller.
Yeah,
nah,
I was hoping for him.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no! Like, I don't know. I think that Alden Ehrenreich is, not to turn this into Star Wars podcast, but I think Alden Ehrenreich is going to do a good job.
I agree. I'm just saying I was pulling for Miles Teller, but they did make a good choice.
But
I'm just glad it's not Scott Eastwood. Yeah, I'm glad Scott Eastwood's not going to be in further DC movies because
he blew up.
He went boom.
I also thought, honestly, like, I mean, I know they'll never do it, but like, just on the subject of the Deathstroke movie, God, how great would it be if they just went with Manu Bennett? They would never do it, but
just as a fuck, I think Manu would jump on it in an instant as a fuck you to Mark Guggenheim because he hated what they ended up doing with his character, like at the end of like the last scene he was in season 2 and then in season 3, because he was a great Deathstroke. He should be Deathstroke live action.
I mean, at least they didn't kill him off, so that there's always the possibility that they'll use him again, even though though it isn't really a possibility.
He won't. He doesn't want to come back. Like he deservingly trash talks that fucking show. But I'm glad Scott Eastwood is not going to be Deathstroke.
Yeah. Let's unless you have one more thing to say, but I want to go back to Suicide Squad. Did you have anything to say about Suicide Squad or?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, but I feel like you had something.
No, you're good. He just handed it off. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like, there's just so much to this movie that just doesn't work.
Wait, we gotta mention the mid-credit scene.
Oh gosh. Into the other top secret folder with the top secret label.
Unnecessary. We knew what was going on already.
Yeah, but it needed to be there to set up. They should have put something to set up Wonder Woman. But I get why they did it for Justice League, because they just released the trailer, surprisingly. But like, it was there to show the conflict. Well, Amanda Waller knows who Batman is. Like, she knows that.
Unsurprising
Because she knows everything. The conflict between Batman and Amanda Waller, like, there's a mutual respect, but they do have a huge conflict. And Bruce was, because I guess Lex Luthor's email was not good enough.
Yeah.
And he needed the files for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
And I like how the first file that he opened up was fucking Enchantress.
yeah, I was gonna. Yeah,
it's
right.
so
Like, she's
stupid.
gone. Like, why? What? Like, what's the point of that? But anyway, like, no, you're right. Like, the one thing I thought in that scene was, why does he need this information from Amanda Waller when he got everything he needed from Lex Luthor? Like, he even got logos from Lex Luthor. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, right? Like, how, dude? Oh my god, how funny would it have been if Argus had made their own logos for Flash and Aquaman, and like he had been like, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like,
when he meets him, hey, which one do you want?
right? No, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I thought Lex's logos were better. I'm not gonna lie.
So Aquaman, do you want to wear the orange suit or do you want to wear the newer suit? It's your choice.
The badass Samoan looking.
Or do you want to smash a bottle of Johnny Walker and then get like overcome by like a wave of seawater?
He didn't get overcome. He went into that.
Or like it crashed around him. Whatever. That's what
He's
I meant.
like, I will let you take me.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was a cool shot in that footage.
Cool
Yeah.
We don't talk too much about that trailer because he's already mad enough.
Yeah, that trailer just. Yeah.
What was better, Suicide Squad or that trailer?
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Overall, this was a sloppy movie. A lot of problems. I still don't think it was as bad as Batman vs Superman. I know Connor and Phil seem to disagree. Well, I know Connor disagrees, but Phil seems to disagree as well. It's a very bad sign for DC.
Not a good step forward. In fact, it was 2 steps
seriously, it's
backwards.
even more of a step backwards.
Yeah.
A bigger step backwards than Batman vs Superman was.
Or is it hopefully the last bad sign because now Jeff Johns is in control?
True.
Right? Like, I have hope for Wonder Woman because A, the trailer was awesome, like we said, and B, Jeff Johns is in control now, and hopefully that means that if Wonder Woman's good, right? If Wonder Woman is good, then I'm going to have hope because now we have somebody who actually understands the characters and cares about them in creative
Should've had him
control.
from the beginning.
Should have, yeah, obviously.
Now, I kind of have, of course, dropped off. I tweeted before. I said I'm done giving DC chances because that was horrendous. But I have to admit, I am excited for what Ben Affleck is going to do with Batman.
Yeah.
It is expected. He's doing a solo movie. It's rumored. I don't know how true it is. I'm not sure if he said it. Someone said it at Comic-Con last week that almost the entire Batman movie is going to take place inside of Arkham Asylum.
I don't think he said it. That'd be sweet.
That would be
absolutely
really good.
sweet. I think that movie needs to come soon rather than later because
2019 is too far away to wait for that.
That wasn't even confirmed.
I thought it was the 2019.
No,
Oh.
it still doesn't have a official release date, but they need to speed it up and delay some things.
Yeah, and especially considering that the screenplay was written by Affleck and Jeff Johns.
That's
right. Like,
it needs to happen.
Right, it needs to happen, and Affleck finally confirmed that Affleck was directing it, as if there was any doubt in anybody's mind that he would do it. Like, when he came out on stage with the directors. So, like, it's directed by Affleck, starring Affleck as Batman, who was one of the only good things about Batman v Superman. It's written by Affleck and Jeff Johns. Like, there's no way this movie could be bad. Like, right?
Yeah.
Or right?
Well,
like, I don't
we've been saying this a lot, but Ben Affleck is a fantastic writer-director, and Jeff Johns is one of the best comic book writers of all time, and they're working together with Jeff Johns in power. If Wonder Woman's not good, this will be the only good movie of the DC EU.
Plus, they both understand and love Batman.
Yep, exactly.
Like, more than anyone else that's currently working on the DC universe.
Hands down. Well, not more than David S. Goyer. I mean, come on. Or Zack Snyder. Come on, dude. Come on.
Well, I mean,
you gotta give him credit.
Well, obviously, I mean, God, the guy wrote Blade Trinity. Of course, he understands comic books.
And directed it too, didn't he? Direct
Oh,
it.
he did. He did.
Yeah, he did.
Before I forget this, one thing, I said this in the car before, but somebody made this joke on Reddit that both funny, sad, and true. It's called the DC Extended Universe because you get most of the movie on Blu-ray anyway. Like, that's where you get the real movie. Which, if, the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs. Superman, which I haven't seen, is supposed to be, the real movie. From what I hear overall, that sucks. But it's a shame. It's sad that you get, like, what was intended. You have to pay $20-something on top of seeing the movie in the theater to begin with to actually get
It's the
what
same
was
shit
intended.
video games pull off with DLC.
Maybe the director's cut of Suicide Squad will have Killer Croc having some Hennessy.
Ooh, wearing Timberlands?
Yeah, inside the bar having Hennessy, wearing Timberlands. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Maybe like
Honestly,
a
though, like
custom-made grill.
not to sound racist or anything, but like, I mean, he's got to have gigantic feet, right? I mean, Timberlands might be like one of the only shoes he could actually wear comfortably.
If he even wears shoes.
No, I know he probably doesn't. I was just making a joke.
No, but you're right. It's
Like,
probably true.
But yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Like, God, don't even. We got to stop talking about Killer Croc. It's making me so mad.
One more. It wasn't all that racist. He swam really well.
Stop! We can't be worse than them.
Far.
We have to be better.
Yeah, but you know what? That's in the sake of comedy and like.
No, yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But fuck that Killer Croc shit in this
Yeah.
movie. Like, that was messed up.
No, it was messed up. Absolutely.
Wow.
So no, hey.
No, it was.
I sincerely apologize.
No, you're just we know you're not being serious.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, we already gave our ratings at the beginning. I guess see for yourself. After reading like the early reviews, it wasn't as bad as I expected, but I also completely bottomed out my expectations, both because of that and from seeing Batman vs Superman when I said it couldn't be as bad as the ratings were. Look how that turned out. But, I guess, see it for yourself. There are some decent things in there overall. It's not a dumpster fire, but it's like if I took a shit in a dumpster and sprayed, you can spray paint a turd gold, it's still a turd.
I feel like I had the same reaction to this movie as if like someone cleaning out a dumpster and they just found like a bunch of fetuses in there on accident.
Yeah, but you'd be happy about that because you're fucked up.
No, yeah, totally.
I still honestly I still think like Harley Quinn was good, Deadshot was good, Joker was good.
No.
Except not enough of not in the movie enough.
I really don't know if Joker was good or not because he wasn't in it enough.
I can't.
But what I did see, I was not impressed with, and I was disappointed with. He was trying to be Heath Ledger mixed with Tony Montana, with comic book Joker's wardrobe. Plus and I said from the beginning I hated his tattoos. I hate them even more now. I said maybe he'll be so good that I won't ignore him. But the fact that he used that fucking mouth smile tattoo 3 different times in the movie was ridiculous and just made me hate them more. And he has this name tattooed across his stomach. They looked even worse.
His laugh sucked.
His laugh was pretty bad. Before we get to that, when I looked it up before, David Ayer said that he added those tattoos to the Joker because he thought it would give him a more modern, stylized gangster look. They were terrible. That I don't know any modern gangsters, like actual mob-based gangsters that would have retarded tattoos like that, or Harley Quinn's terrible ones too. Although the Lucky You one is appropriate given its location because you do have to be lucky to get that, I'm sure. But yes, his laugh was
his
subpar.
laugh. If you look back at Heath Ledger's Joker, I'm gonna keep going back to it because it was so damn good. Like when he would like chuckle and laugh a little bit, like it just gave you a creepy ass vibe.
The hee ha ha hoo ha ha hee hee. But yeah, no. and the way he like, it just seemed, like Joker. Oh, you could always expect him to laugh even at the worst times, the most ridiculous times. But the face he made when he laughed and the way he like writhed his body so it looked like he was having spasms was stupid.
Or when he's sitting in the jail cell.
Yeah.
I want my phone call.
Yeah.
Just like smacking his gums.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I honestly, like, the way I looked at it with the Joker was that we've had 3 live action Jokers. We've had, up to this point, we've had Cesar Romero from the Batman 60s series.
And he refused to shave his mustache every time.
Yeah. We've had Jack Nicholson in the 1989 Batman movie from Tim Burton. And we've had Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. And all of those interpretations of the character have been different. And
Jesse Eisenberg.
And not necessarily and not necessarily they've all been good in their own way. So the challenge for for Jared Leto, and I said this in the car, is that he both has to follow Heath Ledger, which is the worst, most unenviable task I would ever want to wish on anybody, even somebody who's a good actor like Jared Leto is. And B, he also had to create a version of the character that hadn't been done before. And
I didn't.
No, see, I disagree. I think that there were elements of Heath Ledger's Joker to him, that sort of sociopathic, like more serious take on the character than the jokiness of the 60s version or even Jack Nicholson's version. But at the same time, he like exuded this like air of like confidence that I don't think we saw in Heath Ledger's Joker. Like Heath Ledger's Joker would walked into a room hunched over, would kind of sit there, like Phil said, smacking his lips, like not really, even though he was in control of the room, he never seemed like he knew he was.
I wouldn't. I think that's kind of wrong.
No,
I disagree. I don't think him walking hunched over had anything to do with his lack of confidence. I think he knew he was always in control of the room because he knew attention was always on him, especially after like he displayed like shoved the pencil through or smashed that guy's head onto the pencil, set the money on fire. He knew he had control of the room and everyone around him. Jared Leto's did have a little more swagger to him, but I think he was too similar to that. I don't think he really tried anything different because the swagger, I think he adapted more from Jack Nicholson. I think Jack Nicholson had a more overt swagger, while Heath Ledger had a subtle one.
See, for me, Heath Ledger was playing off like somebody who is insecure but is trying to control the room, and it was sort of like, because he was so damaged ironically he was so damaged without needing it tattooed on his forehead. No, but like Heath Ledger's Joker seemed like such a damaged individual that like he was doing everything that he did out of a sense of pure like anarchy and nihilism, and he was sort of kind of like, I don't want to say like depressed, but he was way, 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 way darker.
He was bored.
Right. It was almost like he was just doing, like, I mean, it wasn't almost like, he admits in the movie, he's just doing things just to do them. And this Joker with Jared Leto, he felt or seemed like he was like more the Prince of Crime aspect of the Clown Prince of Crime, like less the clown part and more the Prince of Crime part. He was playing more of like a hardened like criminal who was also insane, and that to me is different from Heath Ledger's Joker because he was more an agent of chaos, not so much a criminal. Like he did criminal things, but he wasn't a career criminal. This Joker felt like a career criminal, and that's a different interpretation than the Joker from The Dark Knight, who was literally just trying to watch.
Was a career criminal too.
See, he was a career criminal who was driven insane after he was a career criminal. I feel like this Joker felt like he was always the Joker and always a career criminal.
Right.
Like Jack Napier was a gangster, and then he became the Joker. This Joker was the Joker and a gangster always, I feel like, though, or that's the sense I got.
Yeah, I got that sense too. I am more in line with Pat as far as this interpretation goes. I understand your point. I respect your point. It's definitely a valid point, but like I know like me and Pat don't agree on the movie, but as far as when it comes to Jared Leto's performance, there hasn't really been anything you said that I disagree with.
I have to agree with Pat here. Like this Joker we see like later on, of course, in his career. He's well established. Like, of course, he did things before he got Harley Quinn to become, basically his
Jason
queen.
Todd.
Yeah, everything's done already. We know all this. We saw the statue of Robin inside the Batcave in Batman vs Superman. We know all that already. And then we also see the idea. What's up?
No, I was just gonna say, like, also just to piggyback off of that, we know that Harley Quinn helped him kill Jason Todd, because when they're introducing Harley Quinn, I'm pretty sure at the bottom of the screen when it's like listing her like accomplishments, it says accomplice in the murder of Jason Todd. I'm pretty sure it said that.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either. That's a good
That
point.
was-
It's rolled super fast though.
I didn't like that editing.
No.
I think that was another like effects based thing that just didn't pan well. Like anytime they went to the flashback, it was stupid. The transition. Sorry, Phil.
No, it's okay. Yeah, totally. But yeah, this Joker, he seems more well established already. Everyone knew who he was. I didn't like the whole the Tony Montana vibe it gave off though. Like when he's
Like
sitting
I was
there,
waiting for him to snort a pile of cocaine and then say hello to my little friend.
yeah, he's like he has too much bling. It's just too.
Oh, the
snake
bling
skin
was terrible.
jacket.
Oh,
just,
yeah, and then how he had Ike Barinholtz kiss his finger, like when he did that, I was expecting him to just like slap him in the face instead of actually letting him
and then laugh
kiss it.
or something.
Yeah, and laugh. But the bling thing was just ridiculous. He was like, the Joker is flamboyant, but this was like flamboyant to the nth degree.
It's like
Plus
they also
Hot
took.
Topic core.
Yeah. It's like they also took the Joker and blended him with the nightclub owning Penguin. Know what I mean? Of course, the Penguin didn't have all the blame, but like, you see that scene with Common.
Yeah.
Like he's sitting there, like he pretty much runs the place. And that whole scene was just twisted.
It was weird.
Awkward.
But
Extremely.
the nightclub owning Penguin was a good point, because that's having somebody kiss his hand is something the Penguin would
Penguin
do
move
in that case. I don't know. He's gonna have to bring it hard his next appearance, because granted we didn't see as much, but the time he was on, I was not impressed. I was disappointed.
I want to
in
see
fact.
a movie of the Batman versus the Joker with the
I
assistance
don't care if Dark
of
Knight did it.
Harley
I
Quinn.
just want it should happen.
Of course,
again.
yeah, of course.
You can't do a Batman film series without having the Joker. Even if you do it every film series, it doesn't fucking matter.
We got shortchanged because unfortunately Heath Ledger passed away. With what we saw though, that last scene of the Batman and the Joker in The Dark Knight, where he's hanging from the building, and he says, "All it takes is a little push," and he just starts chuckling and laughing. I got so excited. I was like, "This is going to be phenomenal how they play this out."
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Rises was supposed to be the Joker versus Batman versus Bane. Bane wants to destroy the city. The Joker needs the city. He thrives off of it. So he's trying to stop Bane, but then Batman's trying to stop both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been
But
amazing. That would have.
Of course, it didn't. Of course, didn't
Why you
happen
don't mix
that way.
pills and booze, kid?
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't
Don't
be
mix
that
things
guy.
that don't belong together.
Like the Suicide Squad. Anyway,
Ooh. All right. We're going about an hour and 20 minutes, so I think we should just finish off with some final points. And so at this point, I think we'll let the guests go last. We'll let you guys get the final word. As far as final point, as far as this podcast goes, it's unfortunate that there's things that come across as racist and insensitive and just unfunny and in bad taste. The characters just didn't work.
All the jokes fell
The
flat.
jokes fell flat. I did not laugh once during this movie. There's people laughing in the
not
theater.
true. I laughed a couple times, but almost all the jokes fell flat.
Yeah, for me, it all fell flat. Like, there's people like laughing at certain parts. I'm like, why are you laughing?
Not
That's
even.
funny.
Not even. Some of the actions were funnier than any of the jokes actually were.
The fact that I paid $15 to see this movie is probably the funniest joke. But no.
That was better than Jared Leto.
That was better than D'Elia did a Jared.
He said he tried
Joker
out
laugh.
like 50 laughs. I'm sure there was a better one in there.
Yeah, he picked like a C laugh. Yeah, the plot was there's no plot. I know I said this already in the beginning, so I'm gonna hand it off. But yeah, I thought this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I'm not going to go anywhere close to that bad. Is it a bad movie? Yes. It's not one of the worst I've ever seen. But it's really disappointing. And I liked how he said that before Batman vs. Superman came out, this is going to be DC's biggest movie. Like, they need to pull their shit together. That failed. Suicide Squad, DC needs to write itself. This will be their next biggest thing. They need this.
Failed.
Didn't happen. Now we have to turn to Wonder Woman, which I hope is as great as it seems it will be. But it's riskier because it's going to be the first female-led superhero movie, which should be a great thing, but I think it's still going to suffer from the BVS hate and the Suicide Squad hate hangover instead of just standing on its own. But hopefully, it turns out great. Positive word of mouth changes people's mind because it does look great. And if that's bad, DC's truly, truly fucked until Ben Affleck comes and saves the day.
Or until they stop making money.
Yeah, somebody on Reddit brought up this point. Like, they're like, "Oh yeah, they should have gotten rid of Zack Snyder after 2 critical flops." See, the real reason they should have got rid of him is because they were both of his movies really underperformed by a few $100 million each. That's why they should have got rid of him. Phil.
I'm gonna piggyback you on that one. They just to recap some points I've made earlier. Will Smith was Will Smith. Margot Robbie was the Duchess of Bay Ridge, where her accent did slip off a little bit, but she still did a great job overall as Harley Quinn. I want to see more Joker to really make a true determination on how well Jared Leto does as Joker, but as of right now, it's still slipping away a little bit. I've somewhat given up on DC a little bit, but like you said, I'm banking on Ben Affleck to save the day because that's what he does. That's what he's good at. He's one hell of a Bruce Wayne. I
think Ben Affleck has the potential to be the best Batman.
Potential, yes,
screen.
Absolutely. This movie was a horrible tank, dumpster fire, 4-alarm fire, whatever you want to call it. It's like trying to put a fire out with fucking gasoline. That's what DC is right now. So I'm gonna end it at that, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't in good conscience say this was anywhere near one of the worst movies I've ever seen because it was, mediocre movie, yes. Middle of the road movie, yes. Not great, not horrible by any means. Like it has a lot of good parts. It has a lot of bad parts. Like I said, it's like a 5 for me, maybe a 6. But I'm kind of leaning more towards a 5 just because of some of the general like dumbness and the racist stuff and all that. Like it just didn't have any place in the movie. But in general, like there were enough good things in it for me to say like it was better than Batman v Superman. And I don't know, like I really liked Harley Quinn. I thought Margot Robbie was great. I thought Will Smith was good. I liked it. I liked the Joker. Like I said, I thought he was good. I thought it was a different interpretation. I thought that there weren't really many other ways that you could go with it. And Jared Leto tried to find one of those ways. It's not going to work for everybody. I understand that. So it could have been better, but it also could have been much worse. So that's kind of what I'll leave it at.
All right. Well, guys, Phil, Anthony, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always a pleasure having you guys over. More than welcome back anytime. So, that pretty much just concludes the episode. So remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Awesome Sunday Show. We also just started a Facebook page about a month ago. Doing pretty well with that. So like us on Facebook, follow us at Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @AwesomeSunShow. And if you want to follow our individual Twitters, I'm at Less Than Connor.
I'm at Rick Patmick.
I'm at FacPhil.
And I'm at APD 1026.
Nice.
Faccone is spelled with a PH, correct?
Yeah, it's PHACKFILL.
Yeah. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/Awesome Sunday Show.
Thank you. And yeah, so
Download on iTunes, rate us on iTunes, Podbean, yada yada yada.
Thank you, Pat. Just in
That's
case I
all
forget something, he's got my back.
Oh, and listen to Live from the Middle Urinal.
Yeah,
Phil's
we
podcast.
yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we release every late Monday night, early Tuesday morning, and we're also going to be talking about Suicide Squad a little bit. So you'll hear some different point of views from Matt and our friend Justin too.
J Bobs.
Yeah, J Bobs, who is a Awesome Sunday Show. He's been on here twice.
Well, and Matt has been on multiple times too. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
Sorry for the one episode this week, but we have busy schedules and Connor had family staying over, yada yada.
Yeah, there's things happen, but it's okay.
At least you're getting one. All right, don't be ungrateful, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
We know you're
just
there
kidding.
itching, you're scratching your
Yeah.
neck itching.
Where are these
you know?
fuckers episode? What the fuck
Yeah.
is it?
Y'all got any more Awesome Sunday shows?
All right, guys, take it easy.
Peace.